Hi, everyone. Are you here looking for secrets of success? Raise your hands. Who's ready? All right. So you're in the right place. So welcome to our panel on female leadership, brought to you by Spotify, the proud sponsor of the 2024 Advertising Week Future is Female Awards. At Spotify, we're committed to amplifying all voices and building a culture where diversity and creativity thrive. From inclusive hiring to fostering belonging, we strive to make our workforce reflect the diverse world of our creators, artists, and listeners. One example is our Women at Full Volume initiative, where we spotlight female creators, activists, and artists driving change through their work. Music has always been a force for progress, from Ethel Smith's suffrage anthem to Taylor Swift's The Man. Today, we're excited to learn from these remarkable women. I can't say enough about these three women on stage. There are Future is Female winners, I repeat, winners, who've broken barriers in their careers and across the industry. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, we hope their stories inspire and empower you. No pressure, ladies. So let's begin with a short bio from everyone. So tell the audience who you are, where you work, and also take a moment to celebrate too. So tell us about a moment in your leadership journey that you're most proud of to date. So want to start with you, Bria?
Sure.
Okay.
So hi, I'm Bria Bryant. I'm the global CMO at Assembly. And, right? And there are quite a few moments that I'm proud of in my career. I'm proud of the millions of women that my campaigns educated on their bodies. I'm proud of the $1 million that went to UNCF to help usher in the next wave of female doctors to address the black maternity healthcare crisis. I'm proud of the 2 awards that I received this week.
Woohoo! Yes!
But those things are in the past, and I pride myself on living in the present. And I'm proud to be here with each of you today. I'm going to be a little vulnerable. This is the biggest stage that I've ever been on. And I truly appreciate all of you, and I hope that you're inspired. But yeah, I'm most proud.
I think the awards the other night was maybe the biggest stage for you.
Okay.
But,
well,
okay, all right. But this is a good week. It's a great week. It's a great week.
Yes, a great week.
Awesome. All right. Isabel?
Hi, everyone. I'm Isabel Solano. I'm the Global VP of Life Experiences at Fever, which, thank you, guys. Fever, for those who don't know it, probably you guys have heard of Secret NYC or Secret LA. It's the largest local media brand in the world. Or probably you've heard of Candlelight Concerts or Stranger Things Experience, Bridgerton Experience, Astro Lumina. We have a portfolio of hundreds of experiences around the world. We sell and produce experiences, and I founded the part of the business in which we partner with best-in-class creators and producers in the world to bring to life amazing live entertainment. We do all kinds of experiences. And I run a team of more than 300 people spread all around the world. We have team members in Australia, South Korea, all around Latin America, Europe, the US. And I would say that the thing that I'm most proud of is the culture that we have on my team. I think it's a very go-getters culture, very entrepreneurial spirit, and very, very good people. I would say that we've made a very large team, very international, but also we built it in a way in which people really help each other, people really learn from each other, and people really care about each other. And there's great friendships that have grown within the team, and I think that's fantastic because to me, my team is part of my family, for real. I spend most of my day with them, and that's the thing that I'm most proud of, I would say.
Thank you. All right, Kelsey, you're up.
Okay, my name is Kelsey Lindell. I am the founder and CEO of Misfit Media, which is a creative consulting agency, and we help agencies and brands be more intentionally inclusive of people with disabilities in their advertising. We know that disabled people make up 25% of the population, but we're only represented in 1% of ads excuse me. And we know, because Yale tells us this, that 90% of those 1% of ads are actually problematic. They lead with stereotypes, stigmas, and tropes that harm our community, while simultaneously our community has $13 trillion in buying power every single year. We know that 84% of total consumers view disability inclusive companies that feature us in their advertising as more trustworthy, and 70% of consumers would switch to a competitor that's more inclusive. So we focus on all of that with a really big focus on justice. So the whole everything we do focuses on how can brands work with and agencies work with their genuine values and their voice to speak to the needs of the disability community and actually create change. So some of the proudest accomplishments of mine have just been helping creatives change the way that they think about disability so that they can be more inclusive all the time and find that intersection of doing the right thing for business and the right thing for society at the same time and have a lot of fun. So, yeah.
I love it. All right, so what's been your memory? What's been
My memory?
Your memorable moment?
I mean, probably the first time I ever we did like a huge workshop with an agency, and I taught for 90 minutes, and in 30 minutes they had 13 pitches to send their clients that were all inclusive. That was pretty badass, yeah.
Nice. Excellent, okay. So we're gonna have some musical undertones here. There's a quote from Taylor Swift, Kelsey, that I think sums up courage. The courage it can take to be a leader in business, especially thinking about all you're doing and the 1% and really all you're doing to undertake, right? Such an undertaking. So being fearless isn't being 100% not fearful. It's being terrified, but you jump anyway. So now that you transition, right, just sort of really passionate about it to really being a business owner with a clear mission, driven goal, clearly you know your stats, you're like on it, and your goal to change the industry, which is amazing, and a move that takes real courage, right? So can you share a moment when you had to take that bold leap? I mean, I guess we know what it is, despite the risks.
It's actually probably not what you think.
No? Okay. She's moving to New York, everybody.
Yeah. As of Sunday, I'm here now. No, the first time I ever made that move actually was not to New York. It was when I was 18 years old. I moved myself to South Africa, and I lived in South Africa, in Cape Town, and I worked with children with disabilities, and I saw some of the worst human and civil rights violations you could ever imagine happening to children like me. I worked there for 5 years, and I started my life there, and eventually one of the people I was working with looked me in the eyes and they said, you know, if you really want to impact this, we're just putting Band-Aids on solutions. We have to change the way the entire world views disability. If you really care about this, you'd go back to the United States, you'd work in advertising, and you would change the way that people view disability. Like, we know that those who create content create culture. If that weren't true, nobody in here would have a job. So we know that this will work, and we can see it in other communities. We see when we look back at the LGBTQ community, right before gay marriage was passed and legalized, we see a huge spike in equitable representation in media, marketing, and entertainment. And over the course of those 10 years, there was a 15% sway in the way people voted, which gave people the right to marry whoever the hell they wanted. So we know it works, and so it's just a matter of helping people figure that out. So when I think about like bravery, it's not so much that I'm like, oh, I'm just never afraid. It's like, well, respectfully, it's never going to be worse than seeing a child chained to a radiator because they're not allowed to participate in society. So, you know, you kind of like weigh the consequences, and you're like, no, I'm scared all the time. My hands were literally shaking as I packed my suitcases 2 days ago, or like a week ago, to come out here. But I was like, you know what? What are they going to say? No, this is the right thing for business. We got $13 trillion to spend, and it's going to change the world. And we're going to have a lot of fun. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So, Bria.
Yes.
I'm going to channel a little Camila Cabello, who's been a part of Spotify over the last couple of days. She has a quote, "Don't let fear trick you into thinking life is anything but beautiful. Be brave and get hurt and get back up and find the guts to be brave again." As someone who's navigated a career across multiple disciplines, how have you been able to stay clear on your goals, and how have you evolved and shifted over time?
I think that two things can be true. I think that you can have goals, and I think that they also those same goals can evolve just as you evolve as a human being. All of us control our own destiny, but we can't control the timeline. And it's important to not try to rush things along because there's a lot of beauty in the journey of it all.
Yeah.
And I have, like, from a very young age, I've always been a very inquisitive child, very curious, I've always had big dreams for myself.
Always why?
Right. Like, I literally used to take apart all of the small machines in my house, and sorry to my parents, like, the VCR did not stand a chance. But, like, I've always wanted to see how things worked. And I've really applied that, you know, throughout all of the various things that I've done. I've also been a person of many interests, and what a lot of people don't know is that I started my professional career as a makeup artist, hairstylist, wardrobe stylist. And then I taught myself PR, started an agency, had a ton of twists and turns, ups and downs, like, quite literally death and rebirth. Like, I died on an operating table, this whole thing, worked myself to death. It's Mental Health Awareness Day, so everybody just please prioritize your mental health and your well-being. But I say all that to say that I learned so much throughout every one of those experiences. And I think that those kind of shaped me into being the person that I am today. So enjoy the journey.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. All right, Isabel, we're going to go to Billie Eilish for you, okay? She once said, "It is rare for anyone to value the opinion of a teenage girl." She saw success at a very young age, and while you weren't a teenager when you created Fever, launching a business at 26 was certainly a bold move for a young woman. What advice would you give to our younger audience members who are thinking about starting their own ventures and maybe have the teenage, I'm too young mentality?
Yeah, I was certainly not a teenager. I was 26, but I would say that the biggest piece of advice is take risks, which is something that, and I see that there's a different mentality here in the US because I'm European, and I feel like in Europe we're very like by the book in general, like education, right? Like it's very like by the book, and people don't really like tell you like practical stuff or show you practical stuff at school. And I think that I've always been the kind of person that I would always take the safe path. Like, I don't know, when I had to pick up like what I wanted to study at university, I knew that I wanted to like do my own thing, but I was like, oh no, because I want to make sure that what if I just don't want that? So I would, instead of just doing a BBA, I also need to study to go to law school. And I did both things just because I wanted to make sure that in case I wanted something else, I still had the door open, right? And I think that kind of mentality of always taking the safe path doesn't really bring you anywhere. And my story was that I was about to go to do my MBA here in the US. And I already started the process, and I already had part of the process like approved and all of that. And I already saw myself.
Stanford, everybody. At Stanford, okay? There's a minor detail there, okay?
And I already saw myself like here in the US and doing the MBA and working here. And honestly, my plan was to do my MBA. After that, working to, of course, pay my debt. And I have nothing against MBAs, by the way, I love them. Part of me regrets not doing it. But the thing is that it was actually the one who back then was my boyfriend and right now is my husband, and we have a baby. But he was the one who told me, like, when the founders of Fever, they told me about, like, hey, we have this idea, which was just an idea. Like, we thought about like starting this new business, and so, but it was just an idea. Like if I have a coffee with one of you guys and I tell you, hey, I have this business idea that I think it can be incredible, but it was just an idea. There was nothing, no team members, nothing at all. And it was my husband, the one who told me like, look, Isa, you're doing all this just because it's like the safest option, because at the end of the journey, you want to do your own thing, right? So he was like, there's no better training than really working on that. And then, like, if it doesn't work, the plan, you can always go back to your MBA plan, right? And that was a tipping point in my life. And I remember when I talked to the CEO, who is my manager right now, he told me, but we were a company of like literally, I was the employee number 38. We're right now more than 2,000 people. So you guys can have an idea of what I'm talking about. I remember that he told me, Isa, you are going to be hiring the people from the MBAs. back in that time, now I'm doing it and it's happening, and I'm the one hiring like people from Harvard and Stanford and all of that. But like back in that time, I was like looking at him like, oh my God, what are you saying? Like, of course that's so easy to say, but like we're nothing, right? And it was the greatest decision in my professional career. But everyone that I would be like asking for advice, they were totally against it. Like I remember the person who was back in that time my mentor, she would tell me like, don't even think about it. Of course, she had an MBA and she had like a very by the book and great career. But she would tell me like, don't even consider it. That's such a risky option. Like go do your MBA and then you can take risks, right? But if I wouldn't have taken that chance, I don't know what would be, like probably I would be like in a good job or whatever, but like I wouldn't have experience and grown so much during the past 6 years and a half, right? So I think like take risks is the biggest piece of advice that I would give to someone. And sometimes you just need to be pushed, but yeah, also be lucky to have someone by your side who
and trust your gut, right?
Yes.
Your gut ultimately told you to go do that, right?
Yes.
'Cause it's kind of how you feel about these things too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, are we good? Are we everybody? You're getting some secrets of success? Okay, everybody's still alive on their phone or paying attention. Okay, so every journey comes with its share of obstacles. Could you share a specific barrier you faced in your career and how you navigated through it to move forward? What strategies or mindset help you turn that challenge into a learning experience or opportunity? Kelsey, you're ready. You're ready. You're ready.
Born ready. No, so I mean, when I moved back from South Africa, obviously my reason for doing the work that I do is because I want to change the world and I want my community to have equity and I want us to have our civil and human rights. Yeah. But the thing is, we have to convince decision makers. So the amount of times when people hear about what we do, like, oh, that's cute. It's so many. I remember I was actually at Cannes Lion this summer, and I told somebody what they did, and it was an executive, and they laughed at me in my face, and they were like, "Oh, good luck with that." And I was like, "Okay." So how we deal with that is we deal with data. We find data. Like you can't. Okay, who do you know? You don't know me. That's fine. You're gonna argue with Yale because they're the ones that come up with this data. You're gonna argue with Accenture because they're the ones that do the market research. So we lead with data, and we just honestly kind of say it with a little twinkle in our eye. Sometimes I ask people like kind of push it off. I'm like, oh, you don't like money? Because that's what we're talking about here, right? Like I wish everyone wanted to do this because it was out of the goodness of their heart because it's the right thing to do because it is. But the reality is we're gonna find people who don't care or don't get it. So we have to lead with data. My mission is always, I'm not trying to convince the people that care. I'm trying to convince the people that don't. And so we talk about that a lot. And then I think the other thing is just one of my favorite questions to ask people who really get it is, who do you know that I need to know? Because good people attract good people. So that's been how I've built my business entire way is like, if you are a good person and you really get it, you're going to know other people because you're like the 5 people you surround yourself with, right? So if you're a good person, you're going to know good people, and that's how we're going to build this. So,
Love it. I have this saying at Spotify that the selling starts at no.
Yeah.
But it is the data that you use, right? You can't just be, it is about how you tell your story.
Yeah.
So great share. All right, Bria, how about you?
I think the most challenging thing I've ever had to overcome is when I like literally had no PR training, taught myself PR, and had to sell my company to, to these corporations to get them to buy into us. The first lesson that I learned when I went to college, I went to Spelman. Anybody? HBCU? The very first thing I learned, like literally the first day of school, was to fake it until you make it. And I am still doing that to this day. I'm doing that right now, like, and I think that understanding that you don't always have the answers and no one else has the answers either will get you a long way. And I've also been blessed with a little bit of delusion. Some people call that confidence. But I approach everything with this very, I've been calling it an Elle Woods, like it's hard mentality. Because I think that you can quite literally like tackle anything that you put your mind to. And as long as you believe that you belong in that room and you believe that you deserve the success, you'll get it. So stick to that.
Awesome. All right, Isabel.
I would say that to me it was more like accepting that sometimes you just need to work or to prove yourself twice as hard as someone else just because, whatever reason, right? Like just because you're younger than like the partners that you're talking to or whatever, and well, it might be unfair. You just need to accept it and embrace it and work on it and go for it, right? Because like sometimes there's this sort of like feeling of, oh my God, this is so unfair, or this person is not respecting me, or this person is not taking me seriously, and you just need to accept like, okay, I know that this person has like ton more amount of years of experience than I do, and probably they're looking at me and they're like even questioning like, oh my God, are you like the daughter of an investor? Why are you here? Like that's the reason why you have that position. And I totally get it. And I know like I've been looking at the face of people and looking at them at the eyes and thinking like, I know that this person really thinks that I shouldn't be here, or who am I, or that someone just put me here. But you just need to accept it and to like, even if it's like twice the effort that someone would need to do, if you really love it and if you really want to go to whatever you want to go, do it, accept it, and work on it. I think like that feeling of like, oh my God, this is so unfair, or this person is not, or like thinking that you are, I don't know, like treated not how you should be treated, it doesn't really bring you anywhere, right? So I've been facing that during so many years. Now it's changing a little bit. Now I have a little bit of wrinkles and white hair, so it's changing a little bit already.
No.
Welcome.
Yeah, I do, but it's been like that for so many years, and I think like having that resilience and working on your resilience and really believing in yourself. I know it sounds really like Disney, but like really believing in yourself, even when you know that you're talking to someone and that person is looking at your eyes and you know that person doesn't believe a word of what you're saying, or they're just looking at you like, just like prove them wrong. And I think that's the key for success in general in life, right? Like,
Yeah, we're our own worst enemies.
Yeah.
Right, when it comes down to it. The voices in our heads, I think, right? That's half the battle sometimes, right? It's like, just have to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
And I really resonate with what you just said, just about being young and people taking you seriously. I'm short. I'm 5'2". I have this voice. I like look a lot younger than I am too, but I started wearing glasses and a red lip to make myself look older and more,
Mature.
like mature and polished in a room. And now that's kind of become my signature.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that as women we have to overcome so many more things than men all the time. But I don't know, it's a superpower.
100%. And I think like, oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
No, I was gonna say like sometimes, unfortunately, and I was talking about this with so many people on Monday at the gala, but like you need to become comfortable being surrounded by men, because unfortunately, like, I mean, many times you are like the only woman in the room, and like it can be like a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning, but like at some point you just need to, okay, like it is what it is. That's why like it's so funny, and I don't know if it happens to you too, but like to me it happens that when I see a woman in another company or in my company that she's a woman and she has like and she's doing her thing, and so like we instantly become friends, because like we're both like, sometimes we both have like this little bit of feeling of loneliness. And it's horrible to say it loud, because it sounds like, and I'm not claiming like, oh my God, it's unfair. No, but it's true. Like on your day-to-day, it could happen to you. It really depends on the industry, but it could happen to you that you go to the board meeting and you're like, okay, I'm the only woman here in the room, right? And you just need to get comfortable with it and play with it, right?
Well, and it gets lonelier the further you rise to the top.
Exactly.
And which is, it's sad. Like I am the only Black woman in this role at an agency within a holdco, the only one, which is crazy. And I have been doing as much as I can to bring more diverse individuals into the industry, because I don't want to be the only one. So it's.
But you recognize that
I recognize
as well.
it.
Yeah. Kelsey, you had a comment.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing that I would add was, you mentioned like, it's sometimes the biggest thing is like the voices in our head, and I just want to point out that those voices are put there, like they're put there by society. Like we're told that it's not like we don't just like wake up as children and don't believe in ourselves. Like we don't see ourselves. We don't have the opportunities. There's still so much bias. And so, yeah, I think it's just always important to be like, it's not just like, oh, we just don't feel great about ourselves because most men don't feel this way. So, you know, it's really making sure that like we're calling it what it is, which is bias and discrimination that has taught us to not believe in ourselves.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to do a final quick fire question to all of you, okay? As excellent leaders in your field, if you were starting a mentoring relationship with anyone in the room, what would be the 3 skills you would tell them to focus on, or behaviors, I guess, on how to be successful leaders themselves? All right, who wants to go first? Who's ready? Okay, Kelsey, you go.
Born ready. You gotta have fun. My Aya, she was my best friend in the whole wide world, and she'd always say, baby, if you can have fun and you can make people laugh, you'll win. And so I just think, like, no matter what career you're in, what your role is, you could be a stay-at-home parent, you could be unemployed, you could be an intern, you could be a CEO. If you're not having fun, you're gonna quit. So, like, find 30 seconds to have fun every single day. Be really wonderful to people. I think especially in this industry that's so cutthroat that we're always just trying to think of it getting to the top. And honestly, like, rising tide lifts all ships. Ask people about their kids. Be really easy to work with. Care about people genuinely. It's a superpower in this industry, is really caring about people. And then I think just be really, really adaptable, like really strong to whatever your mission is, but really flexible with the plan is. So those would be my 3. Yeah.
Woo! Amazing. Oh, really. I think that. Sorry, no pressure, ladies.
I was ready.
Isabel, you want to go next? Bria, you want to go?
Okay. So my 3. First one, stay curious. I think that childhood curiosity is something that we should hold on to as long as possible. Also, continue learning. I like to tell people to learn a little bit about a lot of things so you can be dangerous in any room. You never know who you're going to meet. And it's those little things that you're able to bring to a conversation that people remember and hold on to. And I'm just going to say what Kelsey said.
Yeah.
Like, it's really important to be kind and to be empathetic and to truly try to put yourself in other people's shoes, because I think that's the only way we're going to move forward.
Yeah.
I would say that the first one to me would be like take risks, or like be ready to take risks. I feel like at the end, life, it's all about the game of like risk return, and like if you never take risk, you certainly are not going to get a good return. That would be the first one to me. The second one would be focus on your strengths, not on working out your areas of improvement. I know that many companies, like, they like to point out, like, oh, these are your areas of improvements, and it's great. I'm not saying like don't work at all, but I feel like in general, like, it's much better to focus on, okay, how can I get the maximum on this thing that I know that I'm really good at, right? Like, try to focus on that, because I feel like it's much better to be extremely good at something and really shine than just being average on everything. That's at least what worked to me. And I would say that the final one to me would be something that has really worked to me, is to be, and I think it really comes with personality, but being people-oriented. I made sure, I always say to my team, I would never, ever hire someone that I would never go to have a glass of wine with. And I think that's important, because at the end of the day, you're going to be working with that person. You're going to be like, that's going to be part of your life, and life doesn't need to be miserable, right? So even if someone is a rock star, but like you're like, I could never have a coffee with that person, don't hire that person, right? So I feel like being people-oriented and really caring about people, it really pays off. That's at least my piece of advice. And I think it needs to come natural, not like, I know that in all these business books, they tell you like, oh, what you need to do to motivate people. I think it needs to be a little bit more genuine, like you really care about the people that you have around you. But I think at the end, that's the way to work happy and to really make sure that the people give you their best, right?
Yes.
I'm with you on that glass of wine thing. If I had 2 thumbs, I'd be snapping for you. I'll give you a fist.
Can we have a round of applause for this incredible group, please? I have only met these women since Monday, and I feel like I have friends for life. Like, I'm so proud of all of you, and really so lucky to be on the stage with you, and anything that we can do to continue to support you, I'm here, and I'm an advocate and an ally, and the more that you all can spread the love, around the world, the better off we're all going to be. So thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Yay.